The diplomatic chamber aboard the Nexus station hummed with tension as thick as the recycled air. Ambassador Kareem straightened his uniform, the deep blue fabric bearing the simple emblem of Earth, a small, unremarkable world that had somehow earned a seat at the Galactic Council table. Beside him, Dr. Seelan adjusted her translation device, her dark eyes scanning the assembled delegates with scientific precision. The Velthori delegation dominated the far end of the chamber, their crystalline forms refracting the ambient light into prismatic displays of superiority. At 8 feet tall and possessing technology that could reshape matter at the molecular level, they had governed this sector for 3 millennia. To them, humans were barely more than clever primates who had stumbled upon faster-than-light travel. "The motion before the council is clear," announced High Crystallarch Zethmara, their voice resonating like wind chimes in a hurricane. "The human species lacks the maturity for full membership. Their homeworld should remain under our protective guidance until they prove capable of responsible governance." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The slug-like Morvani bobbed their eye stalks approvingly. The machine-precise Catherians flickered their approval in binary light sequences. Even the philosophical dreamweavers seemed to pulse with reluctant consensus. Kareem felt the weight of 1,000 years of human struggle pressing against his shoulders. Earth's children, scattered across dozens of colonies now, would remain second-class citizens in their own galaxy. He stood slowly, and the chamber fell silent. "Honored delegates," he began, his voice carrying none of the advanced harmonic modulation other species employed, just simple human conviction. "You speak of maturity and responsibility. You measure us against your own ancient civilizations and find us wanting. But you misunderstand what makes humanity valuable to this council." High Crystallarch Zethmara's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. "Enlighten us, young human. What could your species possibly offer that we have not already perfected?" Seelan touched her tablet, and holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber. Images of human colonies, ships, research stations, all modest compared to the grand megastructures of older civilizations. 3 months ago, Kareem continued, the Andorian plague swept through the Outer Rim territories. Your species, High Crystallarch, quarantined the affected regions. The Catherians calculated the acceptable losses. The Morvani declared it beyond their expertise. The chamber grew uncomfortably quiet. "But humans," Seelan spoke for the first time, her voice steady despite addressing beings who could obliterate her homeworld with a thought. "Humans did something different. We sent our people into the plague zones, not because we had better technology, we don't. Not because we were immune, we weren't. We sent them because someone had to try." New images flickered to life. Human medical teams in hastily constructed isolation suits, working alongside alien patients whose biology they barely understood. Ships filled with supplies, their crews volunteering for one-way missions into quarantined space. "Dr. Sarah Chen died on Kepler Station," Kareem said quietly. She was 26 years old. She could have stayed home, started a family, lived a full life on Earth. Instead, she spent her last weeks holding the hand of a dying Vortan child whose parents had already fled. The child survived. Dr. Chen didn't. The hologram showed a young human woman, unremarkable by galactic standards. No crystalline perfection, no technological augmentation, no ancient wisdom. Just a human being choosing to be present in someone else's darkest hour. Captain Rodriguez flew the last supply run to Sigma Colony, Seelan added. His ship was already damaged, life support failing. He could have turned back. Instead, he delivered medicine to 3,000 Zelanian refugees and died in the crash landing. The refugees carved his name into the colony memorial in 17 different languages. More images, humans working in refugee camps, sharing their modest rations with beings 3 times their size. Human engineers fixing water purifiers on worlds they'd never seen before. Human teachers learning alien languages to educate orphaned children of species they couldn't even pronounce. "You call us immature," Kareem said, his voice growing stronger. "You say we lack wisdom. Perhaps you're right. A mature species would have calculated the odds. A wise species would have protected their own first. We did neither. He gestured to the images surrounding them, thousands of small acts of connection across the plague-stricken territories. Your species, high crystallarch, built wonders that span systems. The Cytherians achieved perfect logical harmony. The Morvani mastered biological adaptation. The Dreamweavers touched the very fabric of consciousness itself. He paused, meeting the alien gazes around the chamber. But when children were crying in the dark, it was humans who came running. The silence stretched so long that the station's atmospheric recyclers became audible. "We don't offer you technology you don't already possess," Salen said softly. "We don't bring wisdom you haven't already acquired. What we bring is something simpler and perhaps more difficult: the stubborn refusal to let others suffer alone." High crystallarch Zethmara's crystalline form had dimmed to barely more than clear glass. When they spoke, their voice had lost its harmonic superiority, becoming something almost fragile. "The plague claimed 17 million beings across 40 worlds," they said slowly. "Our projections suggested 43 million casualties. We assumed the lower numbers were due to improved quarantine protocols." "No," Kareem replied simply. "They were due to humans who refused to let the projections become reality. The vote, when it came, wasn't unanimous. The Cytherians maintained their logical objections. Some species worried about setting precedents. But for the first time in Council history, a species earned full membership not for their achievements, but for their character." Later, in the quiet of their quarters, Salen found Kareem staring out at the stars. "Do you think we're ready for this responsibility?" she asked. Kareem considered the question, thinking of Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez, and thousands of others who had never asked if they were ready. They had simply acted when action was needed. "No," he said finally, "but I don't think that's the point anymore." Outside their viewport, the galaxy stretched endlessly, full of wonders and terrors and countless beings who might, someday, need someone to refuse to abandon them in the dark. And humanity, young and foolish and stubbornly compassionate, was finally free to answer that call.